Betty, and she's composed.
Hi, Betty.
She's our poet, and she has written a poem. Also, we've written together with Donna, myself, and Betty. The legacy of. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh. Is that when you go in and out? Anyway, so we've written a legacy tribute to Ian, as we all know him as Ian, and you will find out a little story about that. So we're going to start with a song first. Gary. Yes. Oh, okay. I'm going to be.
But you better pay attention. An A on my exam.
Now, I brought my choir today. That's you. So we're passing music out. And the first song is You Raise Me Up.
Oh, yeah.
Share and pass. There's
Is that Raise Me Up or Amazing Grace? Okay,
When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burden me, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. There is no life without its hunger. Each restless heart beats so imperfectly. But when you come and I am filled with wonder, sometimes I think I glimpse eternity. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. You raise me up to more than I can be. Gentlemen, that was lovely. everybody knows this one by John Newton. And there's actually a story behind this. John Newton was a slave ship captain. And there was a time when he had heard a sermon when he was in England, and he realized that God had grace, even for somebody like him. So that's where the words come from, that saved a wretch like me, because he really was. And he was one of the worst slave captains, the way he treated his slaves. But God changed his heart and his life, and he wrote this song about God's grace. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. The chorus. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior, has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy rains, unending love, amazing grace. Through many dangers, toil, and snares, I have already come. 'Tis grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. My chains are gone, my chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior, has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy rains, unending love, amazing grace. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, we know there's days to sing God's praise. And when we first begun, my chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior, has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy rains, unending love, amazing grace. The earth shall soon dissolve like snow, the sun forbear to shine, but God who called me here below will be forever mine. My chains are gone, I've been set free. My God, my Savior, has ransomed me. And like a flood, His mercy rains, unending love, amazing grace. And like a flood, His mercy rains, unending love, amazing grace. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to have a prayer, the 23rd Psalm, and it's going to be read by Serenity.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Okay, Betty will read the poem that she's reading.
We all went to Kauai together. We had a trip back in 2010. And I just spoke to Ian the night before, and I had sent him a Father's Day card, and he was on my sister's phone. I was expecting her voice, and he always would tell me how much he loved me, and he thanked me for the card. He's always so appreciative. So the day when he passed, this was what I always say, my poems are not of me, but through me. So, and I hadn't written in almost 2 years, so this was for Ian. Aloha, my sweet Ian. How do I love thee, Ian? Let me count the ways. Bloody hell, there's just too many. But this I must convey. The times we spent together were simply not enough. We've made so many memories. This past year has been tough. I talked to you just last night. You thanked me for the card. Your loving words and gratitude makes this so truly hard. Your wit and sense of humor I'll treasure in my heart. You loved us all so dearly. It's sad we'll be apart. Yet in my tears of mourning, I know we'll meet again and celebrate our birthdays, good wine with family and friends. You survived so many tragedies, ill health and loss of sight. My sister took good care of you, applying drops both day and night. Today the angels greeted you. Many souls surround you now. Our loss is heaven's gain. This pain will ease somehow. In heaven you are dancing. The waves flow with the tide. Aloha, my sweet Ian. We'll see you on the other side. In loving memory of John Ian Sinkinson.
Now we have a tribute for Ian, and it's going to be read by Sean, Betty's son.
The life and legacy of John Ian Sinkinson. Ian's story begins with his parents, Jack Wilfred Sinkinson, born in England, and Isabel McLean Milne, Milne, however you say that, sorry. Milne, okay, there we go. Born in Scotland. Jack and his brother joined their father, John Sinkinson, after he moved his printing business from England to the U.S., where he set up shop in Englewood, New Jersey. Isabel and her girlfriend Daisy pursued the brothers to get married. Jack and Isabel were married on September 20th, 1930 in Englewood. Their only child, a son, was born on October 28th, 1934. His mom wanted to name him Ian, Gaelic for John, but Jack told the registrar their son's name was John Sinkinson. The family called him Ian all during his childhood. He never found out his legal name until he turned 18 and served in the British Armed Forces. At 6 months of age, his parents returned to the Lake District in England. His mom had won a sweepstakes, and the prize money allowed them to pay cash for a house. His parents continued the printing and bookbinding business in Ulverston. When Ian was 5, England went to war with Germany. He would pick up shrapnel off the beaches and countryside. German aircraft tried to bomb the shipyard where they were manufacturing nuclear submarines in Barrow. They were unsuccessful because they didn't have long-range capability at the time and couldn't reach the east coast of the Irish Sea. Jack passed away from tuberculosis TB when Ian was 14. He followed in his father and grandfather's footsteps by starting his apprenticeship in printing. However, at the age of 18, it was compulsory in England to join the British Armed Forces. His idea of being a flagman in the Royal Navy went to the wayside when he was put in the galley to be a cook on a ship. He rather enjoyed this assignment, for being a cook definitely had its perks. When the Korean War was over, Ian went back to Ulverston to complete his apprenticeship. Ian's good friend Derek had a very attractive sister named Lorna. They dated and fell in love, and married on March 23, 1957. They had 4 children together, Karen, Mark, Nick, and Natasha. When Ian's mom came to visit, the kids called her Nana May. Grandchildren brought much joy into Isabella's life. She passed away in November 1991 in England. In 1968, Ian bought the White Dove Cafe. However, it was not profitable, and he sold the business in 1969. In search of a warmer climate, they decided to move to South Africa. They rented a home, and Ian was employed by the local newspaper. In 1971, Ian's job ended, and there was unrest in the region, so they decided to move back to England. Ian returned to America in 1972, seeking employment and better summer climate. He stayed with Aunt Daisy in New Jersey, while the family remained in Ulverston until 1973. When they came to the States, he got laid off from his job, then found work at the newspaper, Newsday, in Long Island, New York. Unfortunately, Ian was laid off again. However, his former boss told him there may be a position in Fort Lauderdale with a Florida newspaper. The family moved again. The paper went through layoffs, and Ian was in search of employment once again. In 1974, Lorna and Nick returned to England, while Ian, Karen, and Mark traveled from Florida to California in their Chevy Camaro. He found work in Bakersfield, then moved to San Jose to work at the local newspaper. Lorna and Nick joined the family in 1975, and they all moved to Lake Tahoe to manage the Kent Hotel, which is no longer standing. In spite of getting free concert tickets for casino guest stars like Frank Sinatra, Lorna didn't like the cold weather, and they moved to Orange County in 1976. While living in Anaheim, Natasha was born in 1977. With the addition to the family, they sold their condo and bought a house in Mission Viejo. I cannot speak, I'm nervous, excuse me. I hate public speaking. Then finally ended up in the Costa Mesa. After 30 years of marriage, Lorna and Ian divorced. She later married Ron, and they were together until her passing in February 2017. Joe came into Ian's life when he was renting a room from her friend Gloria in Laguna Beach. Joan had been divorced for a number of years and had 3 children of her own, Donna, Stacy, and Brian. Ian and Joan started dating in December of 1987, fell in love, and on their way to getting marriage license, Joan found out that Ian wasn't really 49. They were married on September 18th of 1988 with all their children by their side. Unfortunately, a few years later, Ian's daughter Karen passed away from breast cancer at the age of 35 on the 4th of July, 1993. Together, the family had rallied around and took care of her until the end. Ian's job-searching days were over when he found permanent employment with Newport Mesa School District in the printing/duplication department. The printing business was changing, and he went through training with flying colors. He worked there until he retired at 63 in September 1998. He joined up with his son Nick as chief supervisor on the house remodeling jobs. They made a great team and had fun working together. However, the chief returned to his primary occupation for printing when he was contacted by his former boss to come work at the Orange Coast College. He accepted the part-time job, which included holidays and summer off. It was a perfect fit, and he was well liked by staff and teachers. After turning 81 and working 17 years at OCC, he retired again in May of 2016. During Joan and Ian's life together, they traveled to England, Germany, Scotland, and France. While in England, they would stay with his longtime friend Derek and his wife Linda. When the Brits would come to the States, the foursome traveled to Lake Tahoe, Santa Barbara, Lompoc, Yosemite, the Grand Canyon, and Las Vegas. Their last trip was in 2019 when they journeyed to Lompoc to celebrate Jackie's New Year's Eve's birthday and to bring in the new year of 2020 with the Hogan/Todd family. Time spent together sharing meals on his heated plate, of course. Laughing, singing, dancing, and having fun with family and friends is what Ian lived for. With his quick wit and sense of humor, he was always the life of the party. Everyone loves, everyone loved hearing his stories and his British accent, and cuss words just didn't sound so bad. Throughout his life, Ian was grateful for the time he shared with his children and grandchildren, celebrating birthdays, graduations, and holidays, especially hosting the annual family Christmas parties that brought everyone together. After being home for over a year due to the COVID restrictions and his health, Ian and Joan were finally able to spend a little time together with family and friends. Those memories will always be treasured. Ian's hobbies were gardening, home improvement projects, playing cards, the lottery, Keno, and drinking his wine. He also loved to travel. His favorite after-dinner treat was having a Kit Kat, which I didn't know personally. That's amazing. I love that. Ian suffered the loss of a child, surviving lung cancer, had an autoimmune disorder affecting his eye, and other issues which Joan nursed and did her best to return to a healthy state of being. Sadly, he passed away on June 19th of 2021. Ian leaves behind his wife of 33 years, Joan, 6 children, and their spouses. Mark, Nick, and Jessica, Natasha, Donna, Stacy, and Calvin, Brian and Becky, 11 grandchildren, Kenny, Haley, Hannah, Tristan, Tatiana, Juliana, Jordan, Dylan, Ethan, Madison, and Brandon. 1 great-grandson, Sid, Kenny and Christina's son. He left us all a legacy of love, laughter, and joy. Our beloved Ian will be greatly missed but never forgotten. He lives in our hearts forever, and Simba, his kitty, will be waiting for you in the garden. Thank you.
If I could see you all once more, I'd tell you things I'm hoping for. I'd like you to remember me by sharing our fondest memories. Thank you for your love and prayers. These past few months were hard to bear, yet with compassion and selflessness, you cared for me. You did your best. If we could sit around a fire, we'd laugh and share our heart's desire. We'd talk about the things we've done and the day when our reunion will come. If I could be there one more time, I'd let you know that I'll be fine. Though time and space may separate, I'll wait for you at heaven's gate. If I could touch your heart right now, you'd feel my presence, there'd be no doubt. We have our heritage, a history. Please carry on our legacy. The wind is blowing, I can feel the breeze. A wave of calm flows over me. My eyes are closed, but I can see. No longer bound, I've been set free. I'm gonna do the toast.
Okay, so one of his favorite wines was Trader Joe's Cabernet Sauvignon, and we're going to have a toast. And Calvin, would you like to lead us in that toast? And that's a surprise to Calvin.
Look on the face, you could tell.
You can do it now? All right. Natasha will read. I mean, not read.
Well, is it written?
No. Spontaneous.
Well, it's so nice to see everyone here today. Love truly does bring us all together, and I know he is so happy that we're here celebrating him. And I know that we've all shared a special moment with him, and
So, thank you, Natasha. And we're gonna pass around the wine. I bought, because of COVID, I always purchase enough wine to last for a while, so I didn't have to go back to Trader Joe's. And unfortunately, he didn't get to drink all of that wine, so I'm sharing it with all of you. And for those who don't drink wine, we have apple juice or whatever you're drinking right now. And then we'll have a toast to him, and if anybody, before we do that, if anybody wants to share a story about their time with Ian, this is a good time to take the mic and speak up.
Okay, I'll do something, but do I have to have the mic?
Oh.
I don't like the mic.
I'll hold it.
Thank you. One more. Okay, I'm not a Betty, first of all. Just to let you know up front. So I've done a little thing here. Mr. Ian. Oh, how I love seeing Mr. Ian. A kiss on the cheek was my greeting. He made sure I was drinking and eating. He always joined in the conversation, even though he had bad hearing. And we all never minded repeating. His love for Joan and family was unbeaten. Joan knew he definitely was worth keeping. He was just a great human being. Oh, how I miss Mr. Ian. Oh, there it is. No. Ask her. I'm not going to ask
Okay. Any others? What did we say? All we can say about Mr. Ian, also known as John. Because his co-workers always called him John, and we had friends that always called him John, and when we played cards, they would call him John, and I said, Ian, what did you do that for? Finally, they got on, and they tried to call him Ian, but they always end up calling him John, so, anyway. Okay, so, wonderful. And we're going to have a toast, and Donna and the girls are going to pass out the little glasses. And okay, I'll share a story. I had to go to Walmart one evening, and I came out of the store and I saw this gorgeous sunset, and it inspired me to write this poem. Are there sunsets in heaven? How are the sunsets in heaven? Are they bright yellow-orange rays, keeping your hands and heart warm? Are the sunsets as beautiful in heaven as on earth? Someday I'll know the secret. And his hands are always cold, so I'm hoping those rays are keeping his hands warm. We have lots of helpers, grandchildren. Yeah, I know, it looks like to me. Sorry. You can always use whatever you're drinking. But, yeah, it's good.
So speaking of John, last night I was thinking about his voicemail. It always like John Sinkinson, and it was so rigid, and it was nothing like him. It was really bizarre. And I was listening to one of his voicemails that he had sent me, and he always called, I'm sure everyone knows, but he always called me my love. Sweetie, you lovey. I love it. I love it all so much. I mean, and I can just, and his voice is it just resonates through me all the time. I can hear him like all the time. And I love that voice so much.
Bloody hell.
Bloody hell to all of this.
That was my favorite.
We all have our drinks in our hands. Oh, I gotta have one.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. And for those that don't know me, I'm Mark, and all the things they talked about, my dad took us to all those places, and it was always fun. We drove everywhere. We drove until we met the ocean at the end of the road wherever we were going. And you know, my dad made some cool kids, and through me, I got to make some really cool children, you know? Yeah, I love England, you know. It made my dad who he is, and my mom, Joan can thank her for training him well. You know, how many pictures can you have with Ron? By the way, thank you, Ron, so much for taking care of my mother, which we probably wouldn't have been able to do either. But, Joan, thank you so much for being my father's wife and my stepmother. But, you know, when you can have an event and both men are dressed the exact same way and, you know, same colors, same everything, we're used to being trained by mother. And that's cool. But my dad, when he met Joan, he was peaceful. My mom, she'd be getting here right about now. But, you know, we'd expect by the time everyone's leaving, she'd be getting here. Let's crack on. What's wrong with him? You know? But if Joan, I just want you to know that whatever God gives to you, I'm cool with it. And Ron, well, you deserve everything because, you know, the way it is. And all my dad's friends, he loved being with you. He loved working with you. He would rather be with his friends and drink some wine, sit wherever the place is, but he was always ready, booted to go to work, and no matter what, you know. Printing is when you could hit print on your printer, adios, you know. My dad didn't want to print money, so I wasn't interested. And needless to say that today, whatever. But, you know, the two verses in the Bible that have helped me through all things is Romans 8:28, that all things work together for good for those who love God according to his will and purpose for you, you know? And Philippians 4:13, that I can do all things through Christ who continuously strengthens me. We're not done yet.
Okay, raise your glasses. Raise up.
Raise me up.
Yes. All right. To our darling Ian, we love you. Salute. Love you. Thank you. All right. So, we're done.